A year can make a lot of difference, and it's not always good. Last season, Habs lose in the overtime of Game 7 against the Bruins, who would go on to win the Cup. How far would Montreal have gone if someone on the Bleu Blanc et Rouge scored that goal? Who knows? I bet a lot of people looked at Scott Gomez's 7 goals and 38 points from last season and went, well, he's going to have a bounce-back year. Can't do much worse than that. Incorrect. Team does really poorly in the first half. Trade Jarl spot check for Thomas Caberlet. Raise your hand if you still think Thomas Caberlet in a Habs uniform looks kind of weird. Jacques Martin gets fired. They bring in Randy Cunnyworth, and that didn't upset anyone. People got a little mad. Mike Camilleri gets traded mid-game. I wonder if he got on the plane wearing his equipment so he had less stuff to pack. And now their latest move, the Canadiens trade away one of their biggest leaders in Hal Gill, figuratively and literally, and a conditional 5th rounder in exchange for a second Blake Geoffrion and Robert Slaney. Geoffrion coming with some expectations, perhaps some unfair ones on account of his grandfather is Boom Boom Geoffrion, and his great-grandpa is Howie Morenz. And after all that, we have a team that's well back of a playoff spot and a seller at the trade deadline. There's Andre Kostitsyn, who's being shopped around. His brother Sergei's already on the Nashville Predators with Hal Gill. Travis Moen, like Kostitsyn, is another pending UFA, although apparently the Habs are trying to get a deal done there. And after that, you have a couple more pending UFAs in Mathieu Darche and Chris Campoli. And that's fine. Maybe look at what the trade market is for them, see what you could get for them, and they've already traded away a couple pieces. But the real challenge for the Habs comes in the offseason, and I wonder if it affects the trade deadline. For example, the Carey Price contract. And if I'm him, I'm asking for the sun with the moon as a signing bonus. Rafael Diaz, Lars Eller, a couple other real key parts for that team going forward. And another massive part of the Habs now and going forward, PK Subban. And on top of re-signing those young guys and more, the Habs have that albatross of a contract in Scott Gomez, $7.3 million against the cap for the next 2 seasons after this one. That or the Hamilton Bulldogs have a new #1 center. Actually, based on this season, he might not even be #1. So we've established some things that have happened, that are happening, and going forward. What does that all mean? What the Habs really need is a blueprint, some sort of identity, a path. Because I just look at the team now, I don't know who they are, and I don't know who they want to be. You got a GM who a lot of people are unhappy with. He's made a few moves, but a lot of them were lateral-ish. Like the Hal Gill trade was a full-out sell. The Camilleri deal, not as much. I'd put that into sell-ish. And now this GM is responsible for what the Habs do at the deadline, the upcoming draft, and re-signing some key components for the future. You have Randy Cunnyworth behind the bench as the head coach, and who knows how long that's going to last. And that's another thing. Who your head coach is says a lot about what you want your team to be. I mean, you would think the style, the system that the coach plays would be what your team plays, right? And then a guy who was a warrior for them in the playoffs like Camilleri, like Hal Gill, another leader. Who is this team? So, I mean, for the trade deadline and going forward, we know the moves to look for. Kostitsyn going out of town. Do they re-sign Travis Moen or deal him? Re-signing Price, Subban. But what you're really looking for are some moves, or one big move where the Habs just come out and go, this is who we are. They almost made it to the Cup final 2 seasons ago. They were a goal away from eliminating the Boston Bruins in the first round a year ago. So there's something there. They just need to decide what that something is. So heading up to the trade deadline, follow at CBC NHL Trades or the hashtag CBC NHL Trades. And that way, no matter what Montreal chooses to do, you can keep tabs on the Habs.